Alright, today's video is going to be a movie review about The Faculty, which is not a Christmas movie, even though it came out on Christmas Day, weirdly enough. As always, I'm going to talk about some spoiler-free fun facts to begin. Then there will be spoiler facts, so you will be warned at that point. If you have somehow not seen this movie, that will be the time to stop this video, go watch the movie, and then come back so that nothing's spoiled for you. But then we'll go into the spoiler facts, like I said, and then I'll go into talking about the movie itself. So yeah, we'll go over some facts about the movie. They are spoiler free, so let's get into it. The Faculty was released theatrically on Christmas night in 1998 by Miramax through Dimension Films. It is rated R. The original title was The Feelers, and it's considered an American sci-fi thriller or horror to some, directed by Robert Rodriguez. Okay, and I'm sure I'm about to mess up some pronunciation on some names, but let's go. In 1990, David Wechter and Bruce Kimmel wrote their first draft of the script and sent it out, but there wasn't any buyers. It wasn't until the success of Scream that Miramax bought the script and rushed it into production. Bob and Harvey Weinstein brought in Kevin Williamson to do the rewrites, keeping the basic story but rewriting the dialogue and adding new characters to make it more hip. Originally, Williamson was also set to direct the film, but he chose not to so he could direct his self-penned script, Teaching Miss Tingle. So the Weinsteins brought in Robert Rodriguez to direct the film instead. It stars Jordana Brewster, Clea Duvall, Laura Harris, Josh Hartnett. This was only his second feature film, actually. Sean Hatsby, Famke Jensen, I'm sure I just messed that all up, Piper Laurie, Bebe Neuwirth, Robert Patrick, and it was actually Usher's first movie appearance. Jon Stewart, who after this started his 16-year tenure on The Daily Show just 2 weeks after this came out. Also, Elijah Wood was a big headlining actor in this movie. And this was before he did Lord of the Rings. It had a budget of $15 million and was viewed on 2,365 screens on its opening weekend, debuting at number 5, just behind Patch Adams, Stepmom, and You've Got Mail in the US, and making $11,633,495 just in its first weekend. They also had Prince of Egypt, Mighty Joe Young, A Bug's Life, and Ants to compete with at the time. Its eventual U.S. theatrical gross was $40.3 million. It was below commercial expectations and has been partly credited to the studio's decision to release the movie on Christmas Day, a time of the year when audiences are more likely to watch traditional dramas or feel-good movies. Their international release grossed at $63.2 million. And it has developed a cult following since its release, with some critics noting it is underrated in Robert Rodriguez's catalog. The home media, like the DVDs and such for The Faculty, do not actually include traditional extras that were provided for other Robert Rodriguez films, like his 10-minute film school feature or audio commentaries and making of features. I found a special feature thing that was released on a France edition or on a France DVD of some sort. So I was able to find some special features sort of stuff, but not on any of the US. I had like the Blu-ray, and it was like an older one, but it wasn't on there. The role of Delilah was originally written for Charisma Carpenter. She turned it down because she felt the role was too similar to her character Cordelia on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Sarah Michelle Gellar, the star of Buffy, also turned down the role, and Jessica Alba also auditioned. Gillian Anderson turned down the role for Valerie Drake, and Sharon Fenn was Robert Rodriguez's first choice to play Elizabeth Burke, but filming conflicts. A lot of filming was done at the high school in Lockhart, Texas, and the school's football team was actually used, and the city was told to show up for the football game. They were given fake t-shirts to wear in the stands and cheer on and be a part of the movie, so that's pretty cool. They had a collaboration with the clother Tommy Hilfiger Fashion, so the teens in the movie's cast all appear wearing Tommy Hilfiger, and then they did TV commercials and print ads for Tommy Jeans that went throughout 1998. Rotten Tomatoes has it at a score of 55%, with some amazing aliens and special effects, courtesy of Bernie Wrightson and K&B Effects. So spoilers from here on out, just so you know, you've been warned. The Faculty takes place in the fictional town of Harrington, Ohio, but was shot in Austin, San Marcos, Dallas, and Lockhart, Texas. In a retrospective interview, Clea Duvall said making the film was so much fun as it was mostly night shoots, so it was like they were in this alternate universe, working all night and making this fun sci-fi horror movie, and that she loved it. Jordana Brewster said it was
sort of the inverse of Fast and Furious, right? So with the Fast and Furious, I was like, this is a small movie about cars, like it's a really fun summer project, like everyone's really good looking, this is gonna be fun, but like who knows where it's gonna lead. With the Faculty, it was like, you guys, this is gonna be huge. Look at all these like successes around us, like She's All That and Scream, and it was like, and it was also Dimension, which was doing really well, that studio, everything was just, and then Tommy Hilfiger was doing our campaign, so we all thought it was gonna be huge. And then turned out it wasn't so huge. We thought it was gonna be massive, I think it was a Christmas opening, and then not so big, so it was a good lesson. But it was like a cult classic, so that's really cool.
Jon Stewart plays Professor Edward Furlong in the movie. And that's kind of a little twist because the actor Edward Furlong played John Connor in Terminator 2. And that was chased by the T-1000 Terminator, played by Robert Patrick, who's coach Joe Willis in this movie. Just a funny coincidence that they decided to take advantage of, and I thought that was fun. Principal Drake gets her name from the Drake equation, which is used to estimate how much intelligent life there is in the universe. So kind of fun for an alien movie. Several scenes involving an additional character named Venus, played by Kadada Jones, that were shown in the TV previews for the film, as well as in the Tommy Hilfiger promotional commercials for the movie. But her scenes were cut from the final film. She's visible in one scene where she's standing next to Usher in Mr. Furlong's class when they're all looking at the new species in the aquarium. I'll pause it so you can kind of check her out later on. If you look at the characters of the cast in relation to The Breakfast Club, you'll actually note that there is a princess, Delilah, a jock, Stan, a brain, Casey, an outcast, Stockley, and a criminal, Zeke, Stereotype. So it's kind of a big hint who the alien is, as Mary Beth is the only one as a Southern girl who doesn't really fit into that grouping. Just saying, if you're going by like old movie tropes, so there's, you know, one of each of these types in the movie. Femke Jensen revealed in 2016 that she had actually never watched the movie, partly because she didn't want to see her character's demise or her fate. On broadcast TV at the end credits, Femke Jensen's character walks up to Zeke and grabs a pen filled with the scat and snorts it and smiles at Zeke, but this scene is not in the DVD releases or premium cable channels or like streaming services. They edited that out. It was just on the broadcast TV, so if you recorded it on like a VHS tape back in the day, you would have that scene. Okay, so those are spoiler facts. Now let's just talk about the movie. Let's get into it. Okay, so we open with our school coach. He's out on the field with his team, and he's being a little bit too hype. He seems to be having a bad day. We meet Stan and we see Usher. Hey! The coach is having a pissy fit, and we cut away as he's being approached by someone. Dun dun dun. Now it's evening at Harrington High School. The teachers and Principal Drake leave after discussing the school budget. There's a joke about using the set from Our Town, but the whole thing with that is that Our Town has no set. It's a play with no set. If you don't look it up, it's a whole thing. That's like its whole niche. When Drake has to return for her keys, she gets attacked by the school coach. We saw him earlier. He seems a little different. He's not so angry. And I swear it has like a debut of his little Terminator run. Just saying. While Drake is trying to escape, should we get a reveal, and the drama teacher, Mrs. Olson, emotionlessly stabs Drake with the scissors as she's trying to flee the school. The following morning, we get a little opening montage of the school life, noticing small details in the opening shots to contrast the behaviors and interactions later on. As the students all arrive to school, we get some character introductions. First, we see Zeke, the rebellious student, with his fast car and no-care attitude. Casey Connor, the dedicated but perpetually bullied photographer for the school newspaper. Then our outcast girl, Stokely, who she walks right into the jock football player Stan in the beginning, and they have their little weird interaction. But I would feel the same way as him if somebody just walked into me like that and then had an attitude like, excuse you, and we find out Stan's dating Delilah, the paper's editor-in-chief, as she tells us, and head cheerleader. Also, our naive transfer student, Mary Beth Louise, who is the new girl, and it's her first day. She asks for directions from Tina Rodriguez. That's actually Tina Rodriguez. She is the sister of Robert Rodriguez, so that's kind of a cool, fun little thing. You just threw her in there. She has no lines, and she doesn't even make eye contact with her. She just points over her shoulder towards the door. Like, that's her help. I'm just saying. But this is when we meet Hyde from That 70s Show, Danny Masterson. And he's had a very problematic last 10 years or so, I believe, and has been canceled. Some controversies. When I was looking up something, it had a part that was saying that he is best known for his role in Dracula 2000, and I was just like, no, that's Hyde from That 70s Show. That's Hyde, not a nameable random character from Dracula remake number whatever, starring Gerard Butler. I hadn't even heard of before, but I did watch it, and he's not in that movie very much. He's not a main character. I don't remember his name. I feel like he stands out more to me in this movie than he did in Dracula 2000. So I'm sorry, Danny Masterson is known for That 70s Show playing Hyde. Article, whatever, clickbait that I was reading. I don't know why that bothered me so much, but it really did. It did. Side tangent done. Let's go back. Zeke is a highly intelligent, but he's repeating his senior year. He sells many things from fake IDs to other illegal items. Like a powdery ecstasy-like drug he manufactures and distributes himself. So a bit of a troublemaker. We also see the teachers starting their day and kind of doing some of their introductions. We see some of their interesting quirks and reactions. And the drama teacher has her dramatic entrance reveal from the night before, seeming all timid and meek to notice me. We see Zeke antagonizing one of the teachers who seems a bit shy and meek as well. Some quick teacher introductions, tone set. You kind of see how people interact with each other, how everybody acts. Delilah's mistreated boyfriend Stan is contemplating quitting the football team to pursue academics, which she doesn't take serious, but he seems to be trying to take his education more seriously, and that kind of catches Stokely's attention. We see her kind of eyeballing. Mary Beth Louise Hutchinson, she says her name all the time in this, tries to befriend Stokely, who is disinterested by what I can tell. But Delilah comes up and spreads the rumors that Stokely is a lesbian. So Stokely tells Delilah to f*** off while leaving. Yeah, you tell her, girl, beesh. We see Casey's having his lunch in the school bleachers. I'm sure finding a quiet place to avoid being bullied. And he finds a strange creature out on the football field, and the coach finds him. Has a little chat with him that seems kind of ominous, which we know from the night before. He's not acting quite right. And the coach scares him off the field. So we cut back to Stokely as she sees our drama teacher going into one of the other teachers' classrooms, and they exchange a very ominous look as well. And then she has another run-in where she literally walks into Stan again. Casey takes the thing that he found to the science teacher, Mr. Furlong, who believes it's a new species of cephalopod-specific parasite called a mesozoan. And Mary Beth and Stokes kind of have a conversation. where she says she isn't a lesbian. It's just a cruel rumor, and she uses it as a shield to keep others away. They spill some water on it. Why is everybody spilling water? Gremlins, these things. And it seems to have a reaction, so they drop it into a random tank of water that they just have filled up in the classroom. But yeah, this one we see Venus, Kidada Jones. She's right there. See, she's there. But she got cut out of the movie. And Mr. Furlong gets bit by the thing. Has a natural reaction to it. Probably not appropriate to cuss in front of your kids, but I mean, if I got bit by a random creature, I probably would do the same. But yeah, Stan quits and the coach is very chill and understanding, which is surprising to Stan, but he's happy to be assured by the coach, who keeps pointing out how human things are. And we get some Usher really working on those acting skills, being an alpha male jack. Stan gets interrupted while taking a shower by the teacher we saw the drama teacher talking to. While some of the gnarly effects are shown, she is definitely not doing well, and Stan is probably a bit traumatized from his little Wet n Wild shower time. But Stan and Casey are told that it was she has cancer and had a bad reaction to her medication, and that she was sent home, so everything will be okay. Zeke gets confronted by the teacher, Elizabeth Burke, who expresses concern from his illegal activities, but she doesn't really seem to have very much assertion. And yeah, gets back down. Delilah and Casey head into the teacher's lounge to find a story for the newspaper. They seem to have a bonding moment before having to hide in the closet. They witness Coach Willis and the drama teacher forcing one of the parasites into the ear of the school nurse. And they also find the body of the shower teacher, Miss Brummel. Casey and Delilah run out and find Principal Drake, who... Didn't she get stabbed earlier? But she seems to be all good. She walked it off. She was fine. It's all good. She's good. Not a problem. But they do manage to escape, and Casey calls the police, and him and his parents come down. They dismiss the claims, though, and it seems that they might have gotten the cops. Right before they get his mom, though, Casey agrees to go to therapy and asks if they can just head home. He gets grounded and they take away a lot of his fun stuff, even the pornos. But he still has his computer and a bunch of other random stuff that he doop-a-doop-a-doop, and that has it all set up to make it look like he's there as he tries to sneak out, which does not work out, and he gets caught by his dad, so now he's in double trouble. Like, oh, you in trouble? The next day, Casey gets dropped off at school, seeing the coach talk to his dad as he's walking in, so, well, that might not be good. And then he finds Delilah, who is trying to lay low, as she says, and they go over what they saw, theorizing on what is happening. So she wants to go find Stan. We now see that all the teachers are acting a bit off and are very thirsty. Mary Beth, seeing that Stokely has eyes for Stan, sets up a little meet cute, and they have a nice chat, showing Stokely has had a crush on him for a bit. And they have a little moment before their teacher comes in and interrupts with a unique school assignment. And Mary Beth seems to develop a little bit of a crush on Zeke, which seems to be reciprocated as they have a nice little chat on campus. Stan and Stokely are kind of noticing that things are a bit off around the school as they're walking down the hallway. And Delilah and Casey find them to talk about what the hell is going on. We cut to Zeke and Mary Beth still having a little chat, where he's also noticing that things are a bit off around school. Not their normal stuff. Before being caught, helping hide out with some drugs again by Miss Burke. And she has some hostility for him this time around for his illegal activities. Definitely not so timid this time around. We cut to Casey and Stokely talking in the library about what is happening and what it could be that they are dealing with. Stokely gives some different theories, and Casey comes to the idea that teachers are being controlled by aliens or something. Quick regroup with the others, and they go to look at the thing that Casey found in the field, and that's where Casey tells the rest of them his theory. Zeke and Mary Beth, who had snuck into a school storage room, nice recovery after that teacher burned you pretty harshly in front of her, because it just went from them talking to them now in the storage after that whole thing happened in between. But hey, good recovery. And they have a little make-out session before overhearing the rest of the students talking about what's going on in the classroom over. They tease them about their theory, and that's when Mr. Furlong comes in and catches them in the classroom and attempts to infect them. After a back and forth where Mr. Furlong gets his fingers cut off and Zeke stabs one of his homemade drugs into his eye, killing him, he decides it's time to get the f*** out of there. Yeah, well, it's time to go. Zeke actually leaves the room twice during this. Kind of funny. And then notice how everyone seems to be acting weird as they hear their names being whispered and people are staring at them as they're getting the f*** out of the school. Zeke takes the five to his house, which as they're driving there, they see just how far it has spread. It's not just the school anymore. There's roadblocks all over, and it's a little difficult. But they make it to Zeke's house, where Zeke experiments on a specimen that was retrieved by Casey during the whole science classroom debacle. And he discovers that it needs water to survive and can be killed by his drug, which Zeke calls it scat and states it's a diuretic and dries out the aliens. But a diuretic actually makes you urinate and must be ingested to work and would not dry out an object on contact. Scat is a desiccant, which would dry out an object on contact. So it's a little different. Zeke makes everyone take his drug to prove that they are uninfected. I'm not sure if it's a continuity error or if it's on purpose, but Mary Beth's pen cap is gone in one scene and back in the next. And during this, Delilah is revealed as infected, and she kind of destroys Zeke's lab and most of his drug supply before she nopes the f*** out of there. When discussing the aliens, they mention a master, but the first person to actually refer to her as a queen during that talk is Mary Beth. Just saying. Foreshadowing herself as the queen alien. Acting on Stokely's speculation that killing the alien master, which is what she said, will revert everyone to normal. The group returns to the school where the football team is playing and infecting opposing players, and I'm sure people in the stands as well. Usher gets some more star time, and the coach is so good in these scenes. Like, he's just so good in this movie. Robert, yep, does amazing work. Believing Principal Drake to be the queen, they kind of isolate her into the gym and fatally shoot her in the head, where Mary Beth then throws the whole jar of drugs on her, and she melts away. Melting, she was melting. So with the group not sure if the queen was Drake, and if their plan actually worked, Stan has a little kiss from Stokes before he goes out to confront the coach and the team to go check and see if they are normal again. If they save the day, but he becomes infected himself. And Stan tells Stokes she would fit in and be with him if she just comes onto their side, but she ain't having it. Zeke and Casey try to retrieve more of Zeke's drugs from his car. Casey is stuck as bait to distract and lead the infected students away. And he has a little moment with Delilah, who tries talking him into joining their side, same as Stan did to Stokes, before he nopes out the top hatch and books it. Which during this, Zeke makes it to the car, but he has a little interaction with Ms. Burke in the parking lot, and he has to incapacitate her after crashing his really nice car. Poor car. But Ms. Burke isn't out yet. We just see, you know, her head slithering back towards her body, and Zeke nopes the fuck out of there. So she's still wailing. At the gym, the girls are talking, and Mary Beth asks Stokely how the book Invasion of the Body Snatcher ends, and Stokely replies, "They get us. They win, we lose. But actually, the book ends with the aliens giving up because they had underestimated the humans' desire for survival. I mean, so yeah. Sorry if you hadn't read it yet. I mean, I did say spoilers, but I guess you didn't expect the book kind of random sort of things. But were you really gonna read the book of the Invasion of the Body Snatcher? You're gonna go watch the movie, if anything. Don't lie. Don't lie. Mary Beth reveals herself to be the alien queen and transforms. Casey and Stokely flee to the swimming pool, where Stokely is injured and knocked under, and Casey helps fish her out of the pool before she gets eaten, like maybe a second before, and they run into the locker room where they split up like you don't know better, and they hide. You don't know better? Always stick together. Mary Beth transforms back, but now she has no clothes. I feel like with her alien size, she definitely would have ripped them. Zeke comes in and Stokes and Mary Beth have a "it's her" moment. Both accuse each other of being the queen, which is when Zeke points out that Mary Beth is naked. Like, what you going on? And she reveals earlier on she faked taking the drug. So yeah, it might not have actually been a continuity error, but on purpose, and I find that extremely clever and very well thought of Robert Rodriguez to do. Touche, I give you credit, man. GG. I love that. Stokes, unfortunately, was infected in the pool thing, so she attacks Zeke as well, and he ends up locking Stokely in like a little lock room thing. I forget what they're called in gyms. You know that thing. And then Casey comes up, so Zeke makes Casey take the drugs to prove that he's not infected because everybody else seems to be, and they get split up. And Zeke gets knocked out. Casey's tripping balls and trying to hide. He finds Zeke's body and gets the drugs off of him. And Mary Beth explains her whole plan, why she's there, that she's taking over Earth because her planet is dying. And she tries talking him into joining her side, making it sound amazing and special. But Casey calls it out as BS, I mean, rightfully so, and takes off out of the locker room and into the gym where he gets a plan. He takes off throughout the bleachers and stabs her in the face with the drugs, having parasites sprayed into his face and burrowing into his skin as she dies. And they have to wiggle back out of his face. Ugh. Such good effects. I loved it. It was good. Then Casey returns to the locker room and he finds Stokely and her parasites shriveling up next to her, so he kicks those away and helps her up. And they get their last nice good jump scare from Zeke, who's alive as well, just got knocked unconscious for a bit. Which then we cut to 1 month later. Everyone returned to normal-ish. Zeke has taken Stan's place on the football team. Smoking though, yep. While Ms. Burke is looking down at him from the bleachers, who was decapitated, only to have her alien-controlled head rejoin her body, is shown very much alive, wearing a scarf around her neck, presumably to hide her scar, but waiting for Zeke. So she didn't die, she just had a rough time. That seems a little problematic. She's still his teacher. He's still a student at the school. Why are they making this seem like really cute? Just saying. I'm just saying. Doesn't fit that does not fit the times. He might be a little old for his age, but that's still a little. Stan and Stokely, who has shed her goth girl image, are now dating, and Delilah seems to be no longer so vindictive and is dating Casey, who is considered a local hero, as various news media reveal the attempted alien invasion is now public knowledge, even as the FBI denies it. I don't know. The article is on there, yeah. I also love the ending credits. You actually see Jon Stewart with his hand bandage where his fingers are cut off and an eye patch on. So I guess it was just the principal, Drake, and Mary Beth who died, because Jon Stewart and Miss Burke are still alive. And those are the only other teachers. Oh, Miss Brummel. Miss Brummel died too. R.I.P. Miss Brummel. So yeah, there is another one of my favorite movies. If you have any fun facts that I missed about the movie, let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. If you've made it to this point, then you should put planets dying in the comments. Really confuse some people. They'll be like, yeah, the Earth is dying, or no, the Earth ain't dying. It'll be funny. Or these emojis in the comments so that I know you watched until the end. Or just put your favorite quote from the movie. Please like, as it really does help with the algorithm, and subscribe if you're not already. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming back. More of my favorite movie reviews coming soon, as well as some story times I'm working on and a really big student loan video. But that's a whole nother thing. Thank you guys for hanging out. I hope to see you next time. I heart your faces. Boy, boy, boy.
No more pencils, no more books, no more teachers' dirty looks.
The students at Harrington High have always suspected their teachers were from another planet.
Is this gonna be on the test?
This is the test.
This time, they're right. Now, these 6 students won't just question authority. They'll have to destroy it. Critics are calling it hip and scary. A thrilling ride from beginning to end. The faculty.
Please report to the principal's office.